Well, good morning and welcome into the Real Monica Adams Show. Let's be real this morning. Let's be authentic. Let's be raw. We're going to talk about some news you can use and we're going to update you on what we're going to be doing just 5 hours from now. So I just wanted to check in on all of you, really to send my thoughts and prayers out to all that are affected by Hurricane Milton. Many of you may have stayed up late like we did, checking in on those you know in the area, those that obviously did get evacuated. There was a mandatory evacuation that took place. Some in that area saying we're not going anywhere, we're staying, and we're going to see what happens. So residents, businesses, etc., we're going to recap what happened last night. We're going to check in with Beckett, who was watching all of it when it made landfall at 8:30 last night. We also have some other national and regional and local news that we're going to update you on. We're going to do a shortened, condensed show this morning because we want all of you to be tuned in at noon today for a big show that we have on tap. And I'm hoping those of you that are in our immediate area can come on by in Frontenac. Now, I know you may have to run off to work. Some of you don't have to, or you work from home. You've got the flexibility and the ability to come by lunch hour. We're going to be there from 12 to 1 o'clock at Yenology in Frontenac. So we're going to talk about that for you coming up. And again, that'll be from 12 to 1. So this morning's show, just going to be a condensed version, really interacting. Let us know what you watched with regards to Hurricane Milton hitting landfall at 8:30 last night. Do you have friends? Do you have family? One of the biggest things that I want to do with our local community is check in. And if you've got anyone that's been affected by this, let us know who that is so that we can do a prayer, a chain with all of our thoughts and prayers going out to those of you that are affected again by this. So all of that coming up for you on a condensed Real Monica Adams version this morning. Let's check in though with our Beckett Moore, who did a report for us last night in our What the Weather segment.
Alrighty, welcome back into this new more weather forecast video. This one has been looking significant for a couple of days. So
good morning to you.
Good morning, Monica.
Finally.
Nice to be here.
Hey, Monica, from around 8 p.m. the day before, Milton has just made landfall just to the south of Tampa, Florida. Here's a radar image of what's going on right now. It has brought devastating flash flooding, bringing devastating storm surge from Tampa all the way down through Fort Myers, and 100+ mile per hour winds getting close to 1 million people without power, expecting that number to go up because by the time you're watching this in the morning, we're going to be having power outages, flash flooding, significant impacts inland from Tampa all the way through Lakeland, Florida, into the Orlando area as well. Significant impacts are expected as Hurricane Milton just made landfall, bringing storm surge, 100+ mile per hour winds, and of course that devastating flash flooding.
All right. So he recorded that for us last night, checking in with us. Couldn't join us, unfortunately, live this morning, but we are going to recap all of this. First of all, before we do so, let me check in with our community and see if anyone is, again, affected directly, family and friends, by Hurricane Milton. Good morning, Sean and Linda, Luann. Good morning from Boston, or as she said, Boston. Michelle, good morning, Hannah. Hannah is up. You're such a sweetheart. I told her I was going to do a very condensed version of the show, and then we're going to do the full-blown show coming up at noon. Kathleen Morris, good morning to you. Kathy Holden Reed, good morning to you as well. Parents and friends, all safe in Florida. Thank you, Terry. You're the one that I was wondering about. Her mother and father live in the Villages in Florida, and I was wondering how they were doing this morning. Kathy Holden Reed said, thank you to Beckett. More weather. Okay, this is what we're going to have an update for you. So he had to head off early to school, but Beckett just dropped for us 3.3 million without power. Yes, many water rescues inland. The roof blown off of the Tropicana field where the Tampa Bay Rays play. Have you seen any of the pictures? Good morning, Sean Neary, Dr. Sean from Mid-America Spine and Rehab. Have any of you seen the videos? So I was watching a lot of the coverage last night, and some of the meteorologists, as well as some of the reporters, showing, and this was before it hit this was before landfall, you would look at the palm trees and the way they were swaying, the way they were starting to bend and come over. I was watching my old colleague, Allie Corey, who works in Tampa, and she was in this small little area of their TV station as the crew was getting ready to set up. And she was like, look at those palm trees as it was just going like this, right? Now I've seen so many that have snapped completely. Think about the height, first of all, and the massive amount of this far with regards to the base of it, the roots of it, just completely coming down. Have you seen any of those videos? These palm trees just snapping. And again, the video of the devastation. So more weather. Tampa, Florida broke their monthly rain record in just one day. So Dr. Sean said, I saw tornadoes, yes, north of Tampa before the hurricane hit. Yeah, I know Beckett is on. Can you tell us how many tornadoes? Jim said there was about a dozen before this all happened. I have a friend who's been on our show before. Possibly you've seen the show with Deborah Anderson. She had family members in the Florida area, and at the time was talking about the tornadoes that were coming in and the fear that she had for her children at that very given moment. If you're just tuning in, as I mentioned, we're doing a condensed version of the Real Monica Adams Show. Most important for me is always to check in on our community and ensure that our community is safe. And obviously, this is what we're all talking about around the world, Hurricane Milton. So updating you on all of this. Again, it changed through from Florida, and the areas that people were all wondering, where exactly is it going to hit? We mentioned 3 million right now total without power, just over that. It charged through the Gulf of Mexico. It made landfall as a Category 3 storm on Florida's coastline late last night after spending much of Tuesday as a Category 5 system. At the time of landfall, it was approximately 8:30 p.m. Maximum sustained winds were measured at 120 miles per hour near Siesta Key. State officials urged residents who did not evacuate to shelter in place because odds of survival were bleak for those who were determined to stay. Officials warned that the storm surge could exceed 12 feet in some areas, depending on where Hurricane Milton made the landfall. Now, earlier in the day on Wednesday, Milton brought bands of heavy rain, gusting winds, waves of tornadoes throughout Florida, again, making landfall on the coast as an extremely dangerous Category 3 storm around 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time Wednesday. At least 3 million homes, again, without power, just to kind of recap for you. According to a website that tracks customer outages in the state, that could go higher. Widespread flooding has already been seen, expected to continue. By early today, Milton had weakened to a Category 1 storm with maximum winds of 90 miles per hour. Now, we do have a local connection to this, and I'm sure that that will continue. Metro East firefighters were deployed last night to assist along the path of Hurricane Milton. They said, quote, safety, the biggest concern in these environments. You never know what's going to be encountered, to live power lines, to just the debris, and unfortunately the loss of life. That's according to the O'Fallon Fire Chief Brad White. O'Fallon and Highland Fire Departments were among 15 engines, 6 chiefs, and trailers called to make that 12-hour trip, along with other Illinois first responders. They should be there already. If not, they are arriving this morning in Tallahassee. They're not only volunteering day to day to help the community, but now they're on short notice. They talked to their employers and taken the time off for the next 15 days, according to the chief. Governor Mike Parson, by the way, announced Wednesday that 100 National Guard members, 21 Missouri State Highway Patrol troopers, and 5 disaster teams will be deployed to Florida. 8 St. Louis area Red Cross volunteers made the trip to Orlando yesterday, and again, more expected. Obviously, many shelters in the area for those that did not completely make it out of the state or in neighboring states. It's just devastating to see the flooding. Now, did any of you watch, and if you did, tell me what national broadcast you were watching. Any of you watch the Weather Channel? We were not only watching the Weather Channel, but we were also watching Fox News last night. I saw, as I mentioned, beyond the meteorologists, the reporters that were out in the field, I was watching Bill Hemmer, a big fan of his from years ago, and watching Jim Cantori standing in the garage area, just watching the water. This is before landfall. Who did you watch, and who maybe were you still watching early this morning? Let us know that. I just want to say, it is hours and hours and hours that these meteorologists and reporters will be working to get that information out to us, wanting them to stay safe. I was watching Paul Goodloe. Do you remember Paul, who used to work for KSDK years ago? I don't know the years he worked for Channel 5 here locally, but I don't know if it was when I was at Fox or if when I was at WIL. I was a big fan of his here. I knew he wasn't long for the local channel. I knew he was going national. I was watching him, and this was probably 7, I'd say in the 7 o'clock hour here locally last night. He could not have his legs spread any wider trying to base himself and, protect himself from the winds that were coming in. And you could hear it in him, how much it was taking out of him. You would hear him go, "Oh, whoa, whoa." And they kept checking in like, "Are you okay?" I know at one point, Bill Hemmer, when he was reporting, trying to pitch to another person out in the field, no matter what they did, actually, I'm sorry, not Bill Hemmer, but Sean Hannity. No matter what they did, they could not get the report from this reporter because obviously the equipment was just breaking down. Those wind gusts, we're talking 120 miles per hour. And at that point, 80 to 90 miles per hour. So the coverage, phenomenal. I would just want to go on and on and on about all of these employees from all these stations putting themselves out in the field to get you the information that you need to know to keep everybody as safe as they can, as they are in neighboring states all across the United States wanting to know what's happening to their family. So thank you. I know so many people, when these type of circumstances happen, they would question TV stations. Why are you putting them out in that kind of danger? Where are they going to get to? If all that flooding's happening, how are they going to get out of that? I know, right? All those questions enter your mind. Any other questions that you have? Anything that you thought of that they were going through? Anything that you're fearing again now? But our thoughts and prayers, again, let's get this prayer chain going because they just were coming off Hurricane Helene. And now here they are, hit again just within the last 2 weeks. Just absolutely devastating. Sean said, I saw tornadoes again north of Tampa before the hurricane hit. Jenny, Andy's family is in Daytona, and they said it was unreal. Beckett says, I don't know the exact number of tornadoes, but I do know that there were over 130 tornado warnings. Julie Fabian, my dad is good. No electricity, but he has a generator. Again, if you haven't heard, we're talking about over 3 million without power this morning, and still so much to unfold from this. And even still from 2 weeks ago with Hurricane Helene, because we saw the death totals in that. Also looked at the fatalities that happened from the tornadoes before Milton made landfall. So there's still so much to uncover that we'll still be talking about tomorrow morning. So be sure to tune in for that. I wanted to start with that this morning. Obviously, that's the big story all across our world. In other news this morning, though, we do have a full rundown of other stories that are happening in our area. I also want to give you our local forecast. And, you almost feel guilty with what's happening in Florida to say how gorgeous it is going to be here. But that's when I tell you to be thankful and blessed for what we have, right? Jenny said the flooding is the worst part right now for sure. Absolutely. So our forecast, if you have not seen this, today, another absolutely gorgeous day. We took the dogs to Fenton City Park last night. For those of you that are local in our area, just a beautiful park. And they have I haven't been there in a while, but I was like, when did they put pickleball courts? Everybody's got pickleball courts. We have pretty much a mirror of what we had yesterday, and a wonderful, beautiful sunshine and 82 degrees, 55 for our low tonight. Friday, sunny again, beautiful, 85. Yom Kippur again starts tomorrow, 61 for the low. Then we get into Saturday, and we're starting to look like we're going into summer again, right? Just the record high, by the way, on Saturday is 89. Will we hit that? We'll see. 88 is the prediction. So now we start to get a little chillier. On Sunday, it goes to 78. Still a gorgeous fall day, but 48 and breezy for our low. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're in the low to mid 60s. Look at that 39 though. Yep, you can tell Halloween's around the corner. 39 for the low Tuesday night going into Wednesday, and then 65, 72 on Thursday of next week, 74 on Friday. And then we get into next weekend, and that will be 78 degrees expected. Could we finally see some rain? An isolated shower is expected. I just mentioned Halloween. All right, I just want to say this. Let's do a little fun trending news for you. Halloween, Spirit Halloween in particular, they're getting ready to open Spirit Christmas stores. Not in our immediate area, but I know we've got viewers that watch from all over the place. Spirit Christmas stores opening up this holiday season. Spirit Halloween getting into the Christmas spirit. They announced they will open 10 stores later this fall. They will have aisles full of Christmas magic. Of course they will. That includes stocking stuffers, holiday apparel, gifts, decorations. Customers will also be able to wander through a life-size gingerbread village, take a photo with Santa. These stores, if you have family in these areas, let them know. It's going to be in Waterford, Connecticut, Dartmouth, Massachusetts, Brick Township, New Jersey, Marlton, New Jersey, Mays Landing, New Jersey, Woodbridge, New Jersey. You can see all of these in the east. Albany, New York, Bohemia, New York, Erie, Pennsylvania, and Poughkeepsie, New York. Spirit Halloween opened more than 1,500 stores across the United States and Canada this year, according, get this, to the National Retail Federation. And you tell me, are you spending a lot of money on Halloween this year? Consumers are expected to spend more than 11 billion, and I'm saying with a B, billion dollars for Halloween this year. What about you? So what they said is a lot of people will not only be decorating their home, but decorating their offices. And I will tell you that we are part of that. We'll be doing the exact same thing coming up in just a couple of weeks. You'll see the fall set transition to a Halloween set. Do you go out? Do you do big in your home or in your office, in your small space, or if you got a bigger building? Do you, and I ask this question, do you go bigger and bigger and bigger every year? Because I'm just remembering when I was a kid, yes, we might decorate a little bit and of course went out on Halloween, but to the extent that we have now, it's just grown. Halloween wasn't as big. Good morning, Tony. To all of you, and I'm going to check over here on Instagram for a second. For those of you that are signing on, tell me, do you decorate and do you spend a lot of money? Do you find yourself spending more and more and more than you have in the past? Tell us that. That's one of the fun stories that I wanted to bring to you this morning. Again, Spirit Halloween, flipping over to Spirit Christmas, evidently. Also want to tell you about some recalls. Now, this is important. Some of these do not affect our local area, but as I mentioned, we are all over the place with our platforms. Right now, I've got us on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. In just a few hours, we're going to also add Rumble and Rumble and X as we do our live broadcast at 12 o'clock at Yenology and Frontenac. Want to see you there if at all possible. But let me tell you about this. Nearly 10 million pounds of ready-to-eat meat and poultry has been recalled. It is due to a possible listeria contamination. I mean, I've never heard of so many listeria problems in all of my life than I have in the last few months. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? The U.S. Department of Agriculture's Food Safety and Inspection Service announced yesterday approximately 9,986,245 pounds of meat were produced by Bruce Pack. It's a food company located in Durant, Oklahoma. According to the recall, the ready-to-eat products were produced from June 19th of this year to October 8th and shipped to distributors nationwide. The products subject to recall bear establishment numbers 51205 or P51205. Once again, 51205 or P51205 inside or under the USDA mark of inspection. So you might want to check that ready to eat meat and poultry. And another recall that's taking place has to do with your vehicles. Honda recalling nearly 1.7 million vehicles for steering problems that could lead to crashes. They're recalling these due to a manufacturing issue that could make it difficult to steer those vehicles. Honda reported that just last week to government regulators. They issued the recall order this week on Tuesday. That safety recall order from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said that the steering gearbox assembly may have been manufactured incorrectly, potentially causing excessive internal friction, and it could make the vehicle difficult to steer and increase the likelihood of a crash. So here you go. Listen up. The vehicles covered in the recall for Honda were from model years 2022 to 2025 and includes certain Acura Integras, Honda Civics, Honda CRVs, and Honda HRVs. Again, 2022 to 2025. So notification letters are expected to be mailed to you on November 18th. Then owners will be able to take those vehicles to dealers who will replace the gear spring and reapply grease as necessary, of course, at no cost to you. But definitely scary. Okay, I've flown this airline, and I'm actually pretty impressed with this airline, but I wouldn't be if I was a parent right now. I'd be a little ticked off at this. Have you heard about this? This is a little trending story. Qantas Airlines apologizing after a rated R movie played the entire flight. A recent Qantas flight from Sydney to Tokyo got extremely uncomfortable when a very racy film was played on all the aircraft screens for nearly an hour. They couldn't take the dang thing down. According to a statement from the Australian airline Qantas, there was a technical issue with the in-flight entertainment system. Now, they did not name the movie. However, according to multiple reports, the film was Daddy-O, a 2023 drama starring Dakota Johnson and Sean Penn. The film has an R rating due to language, sexual material, brief graphic nudity. Passengers were unable to pause or turn off the screens when the movie was playing. Can you imagine with your kids? There's a lot of young kids on these flights. Like seeing all of this play out. Qantas said the crew initially tried to fix the screens for customers who didn't want to watch the movie, but once confirmed it wasn't possible, they switched it to a children's film, but that was an hour in. The airline said it has since apologized to passengers for what happened and is following up with them. How unbelievably uncomfortable is that? Before we get into sports news, Jenny says candy is half the cost for Halloween. Yes, it's unreal. So expensive. Everything right now is crazy expensive, right? Linda says, I'll be putting out my Halloween decorations today, but not a lot. Same with outside. My dad did that this week. So I don't know if we're even going to put anything Halloween up. Just again, we don't have a party, and I don't think I have anybody coming over. So it's like, just leave it downstairs. Halloween is my favorite holiday, Marilyn says. Plus, I am a candy freak. Hey, watch it. You've gotten healthy, so watch that. Yes, I decorate in and out. I love having my neighbors over for chili and hot dogs. So that sounds good. I hand out the big candy bars. Of course you do. And for my special neighbor kids, goodie bags that include a $2 bill. I am known for my $2 bills for many events. So Jim did put a couple of Halloween things up, but I don't think we're going to do more than that. Linda, I would have been outraged if I'd been on that flight. I know. Weigh in on any of these things that we're talking about this morning. And please do me a favor. Remember to always share, like, and follow our live streams for the spread of our fun shows and our positivity. Kathy says, how fun, to Marilyn. No one helps me give out candy and no one seems interested anymore. Really? We used to dress up, have horror movies, playing the whole thing. Not anymore. You still, you do you, right? Doesn't matter if anybody else, you do you and you have fun. All right, let's give you a little sports news. And this has to do with our St. Louis Battlehawks. And then for any of you that are tennis fans, I'm not sure if you've heard about this. First of all, locally, the United Football League has released the St. Louis Battlehawks opponents for the 2025 season. It's a 10-game schedule, features 6 home games, including the defending UFL champion Birmingham Stallions, making their first regular season visit right here to St. Louis. Did you go to a game? Jim and I did. We loved it. Loved the energy. In addition, the Michigan Panthers, they're making their debut at the Dome this year, along with return appearances by the Arlington Renegades, the DC Defenders, the San Antonio Brahmas. The UFL season kicks off March 28th. So put it on your calendar, March 28th of next year. Exact dates and times, of course, for the Battlehawks schedule will be released later. But here you go. Season tickets for the Battlehawks go on sale next Tuesday, October 15th at 10 a.m. And you can purchase those tickets online by visiting the ufl.com/tickets website. And then 22-time Grand Slam champion Rafael Nadal is retiring. Wow. Retiring from tennis. He announced the impending retirement on Thursday at age 38 after winning 22 Grand Slam single titles during an unprecedented era. He shared this with his rivals in the so-called Big Three, Roger Federer and Novak I always forget how to say his last name. Novak Djokovic. Is that right? I think so. Nadal said he will retire after next month's Davis Cup finals. So that'll be probably a very big watch finals. Really, everything I've experienced, he said, has been a dream come true. I leave with the absolute peace of mind of having given my best, of having made an effort in every way. The Spaniard indicated his decision was related to persistent injury problems, but so fun to watch. I know Jim's always been a big fan of watching him. Roger Federer, I'm a big fan of, but if you are a tennis fan, I wasn't sure if you saw that or not. Marilyn said, "How sad, Rose. My neighborhood is amazing." We're still talking about Halloween. If you missed any of this, I'm doing a very shortened version this morning of the Real Monica Adams show and getting you prepared for what's happening in about 5 hours. So I just wanted to check in. Once again, if you haven't been following what happened with Hurricane Milton, right now we've got 3.3 million people without power. That's the total right now, as it did charge through the Gulf of Mexico and it made landfall as a Category 3 storm. Tons of tornadoes before that made landfall. We've got many from our area continuing to go in the help efforts. So we do not know the total of loss of lives, injuries, if there are, again, are many missing, like we saw with Hurricane Helene. I wanted to come on, though, today to talk about the need for prayers, the need to check in, make sure that anyone that you know, friends, family members, that you try to obviously get in touch with them any way you can. The scariest part, of course, is during the time that they have no way to contact you. I just can't imagine. Again, if any of you in our community have friends and family members, that's what we're here for. Our thoughts and prayers going out to you, and be sure to tag us in that. All right, we're going to wrap up and remind you that today we would love to see you. If you are in our immediate Missouri, Illinois area, if you have to run out for lunch, or you can, and you can come by and just say hi, I want you to come by this location, Yenology in Frontenac, because a lot of us need our release from fear and anxiety, do we not? Especially with what just happened with Hurricane Milton and anything else that's to come for us. We need to find a way to balance ourselves a little bit more. And this store does just that. All right, 903 South Lindbergh, Suite 110. That is where we're going to be in just about 4.5 hours, and I would love to see you there. Again, it is called Yenology, 903 South Lindbergh Boulevard, 110. That's Frontenac, Missouri. For those of you that are in our immediate area, what are you doing? Are you going to come by? I know a handful of my clients said, we're going to be there for you, Monica. I've got, I think Dr. Shannon's coming by, who was on our show on Monday. Any of you intrigued by calmness, which should be all of us? She's got something for everyone, from candles to essential oils to cannabis related products to CBD to jewelry to focusing on women owned companies to supporting other local companies, lifting each other up. When I walked in, I could not believe the calmness that took over. And I pretty much run that way of peace, calmness, balance. But when I feel a little off kilter, it's what do we need to bring us back to that center of balance? She also has things to remove toxicity if it's around you in your space, whether it's home or whether it's business. Have you ever thought of saging? Do you even know what that is? We're going to break it all down. We're going to finally get a chance to show you the store. We had Sarah Glasser in a couple of weeks ago telling you her background leading up to her following her passion, following her dream. Stephanie, so far all my hockey friends are okay. That's nice to know. Julie, I cannot make it today. But I will be going. It looks amazing, she said. Thank you. That's what matters, right? If you cannot come during this hour, I ask you to watch. Please, if you can, watch live and tell everybody that we'll be on at 12 o'clock, a special lunchtime show. So we're going to wrap up right now. I hope you all have a wonderful morning. If you cannot make it to the show or you cannot watch live, that's the beauty of streaming, be sure to watch it, because I know you're going to want to know about this, and then spread that to your family and friends. Thank you all for tuning in this morning, and I'll see you if I possibly can, if you can, I should say, even if it's for a handful of minutes stopping by for lunch hour. Again, Yenology in Frontenac. Check it out. Hannah just dropped it for you. Would love to see you. Have a beautiful morning.